Cheers, Mike. Thank you. And even on a kind of cold statistical level, the research shows that having more diverse boards, etc., increases income by 15%, and that's across different industries. It's not just sport, but we talk about that in our Tackling Racism course. That actually we all should want to do this. It should be we want to do this on a positive, ethical level, but on a sort of core business case, it's win-win as well. So yeah, it should be a fairly easy sell. Not always, and that's just the way it is. But over to you now, Claire. I've got your hand up as well.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about boards and leadership and, how vital that representation is. When you're talking about pushback and not having that buy-in, I think it's really important that you question that then, why don't you have that buy-in from your leadership, from your board, from your internal workforce, and kind of really get under the bones of where that's coming from, and also reevaluate your organizational values then as well, and ensure that everybody's on board with those values too. And I think it's really important that everybody shares those and is part of driving that agenda forward. I think Jatin's absolutely spot on that true embedding means that EDI isn't seen as a separate project. And I think it's really important for organizations to go away and think, what does embedding equality or inclusion actually mean, and what does that look like? Because I think a lot of people still don't fully understand what embedding EDI actually means and what does it mean for their organization. I think it's really important that boards that have that kind of training and understanding about that leadership have that training and understanding about that, and everybody is buying into it, and it's across the whole organization as well. It's really important that EDI doesn't just sit with one individual within the organization. It needs to be on everybody's agenda in order to drive it forward and make real sustainable change, essentially. So yeah, we're just coming back to your comment on boards and board diversity and diversity in leadership and how vital that is.
I do think that term embedding equality, which you do see on social media when people are talking about their philosophy, and this is one of our key areas. Do you think that's a bit of a buzzword that organizations throw around sometimes? Do you think sport organizations can be guilty of that?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody was to ask me what that means, I'd have to really think about it. And to be honest, I don't even know what embedding EDI would truly look like within our own organization yet. And I think, banding around also the word inclusive cultures is also another one where it's like, well, what does that actually mean? And I think people need to stop and take stock of these phrases and terms and actually think, well, what does this mean for our organization?
Yeah, cheers, Claire. And Sammy, you got your hand up as well.
I did, and then I was trying to juggle the hand button and unmute. So it's just following on from everyone else's comments, and it's just something that I learned last summer when I was working at the Commonwealth Games. I was talking to lots of different people on different boards, and it was a real insight for me as I was approaching some new challenges with the job. And diversity on the boards and in executive and leadership in all positions really, really important. I think the challenge is being heard and listened to and respected as well. I think a lot of people that I interacted with and asked some critical questions of felt that they were on the boards, however their voices were not heard the same as the people that maybe have been on boards for longer periods of time and had dominated those environments. So I think that's really the next challenge. Is great, we're getting that diversity. However, now we want that equality and also that feeling valued piece and being heard and learning from people.
No, over to you, Jatin. I'm not muted. Over to you, Jatin. Sorry, you got your hand up.
Sorry to continue, but I think it's a really critical point that Sammy and Claire both made about boards and making sure they're diverse. I think that's really, really important. And to that point you made there, Sammy, the voice piece is so important. It's critical, actually. And I know there's buzzwords like empowering, embedding, I'm about to use them again, but making sure that when you do have that diverse representation, that those individuals don't then become the go-to to solve the issues respective of their own diversity is really, really important. I think making sure the board collective understands why it's critical and therefore what their role is to ensure you're getting the best out of their diversity, their insights, their knowledge is really important. I often say if you're asking diverse members to come onto board into leadership positions, it's normally because they bring an insight and expertise and a passion for your respective sport, They also had very little part to do in creating the inequalities and structures which have caused underrepresentation and inequities, right? So making sure there's a balance there is really important to getting the best out of diverse boards going forward.